The stories that I picked for tonight are both about owls. And remember, owls are awake at nighttime when everybody else is asleep. And this book is about a little boy and his dad who go out at night to find an owl. And it's called Owling. I love this beautiful barn. Look at that. Huge farm. Okay. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, because that's when the owls are out, right? When Pa and I went owling. There was no wind, the trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew. There's a train way back there. Long and low, like a sad, sad song. And there's the dad and his boy heading out. It's a beautiful picture. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out, trains and dogs, for a real long time. And when their voices faded away, it was as quiet as a dream. We walked on toward the woods, Pa and I. There's a fox watching them. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round. I had to run after him every now and then to keep up, and my short, round shadow bumped after me. But I never called out. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up, as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. Then he called, "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo. Hoo!" The sound of a great horned owl. Hoo, 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 hoo. Again he called out, and then again. After each call, he was silent, and for a moment we both listened. But there was no answer. Pa shrugged and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said, sometimes there's an owl and sometimes there isn't. What's that? A little raccoon hiding in the tree. We walked on. I could feel the cold, as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back, and my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kinds of things hide behind black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave. Then we came to a clearing in the dark woods. The moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing, and the snow below it was whiter than the milk in a cereal bowl. Oh, there's a deer. I sighed, and Pa held up his hand at the sound. I put my mittens over the scarf over my mouth and listened hard. And then Pa called, "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo." I listened and looked so hard my ears hurt, and my eyes got cloudy with the cold. Pa raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came threading its way through the trees. Hoo, 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 hoo. Pa almost smiled. Then he called back, "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo," just as if he and the owl were talking about supper, or about the woods, or the moon, or the cold. I took my mitten off the scarf, off my mouth, and I almost smiled too. Wouldn't that be neat to have an owl call back to you? That'd be so exciting. The owl's call came closer from high up in the trees. On the edge of the meadow, nothing in the meadow moved. All of a sudden, an owl's shadow, part of the big tree shadow, lifted off and flew right over us. We watched silently with heat in our mouths, the heat of all those words we had not spoken. The shadow hooted again. Pa turned on his big flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on a branch. Whoa, look at that. For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, we stared at one another. That would be such a neat experience. Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow without sound. It flew back into the forest. Time to go home, Pa said to me. I knew then I could talk. I could even laugh out loud, but I was a shadow as we walked home. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says. The kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. Here's another book I found about an owl. It's called Goodnight Owl. Owl tried to sleep in the daytime, right? Because owls sleep in the daytime. The bees buzzed, buzz, buzz, and owl tried to sleep. The squirrel cracked nuts, crunch, crunch, and owl tried to sleep. The crows croaked, caw, caw, and owl tried to sleep. The woodpecker pecked, rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat, and owl tried to sleep. The starlings chittered, twit, 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 and owl tried to sleep. Poor owl. The jays screamed, ark, ark, and owl tried to sleep. What a noisy tree. The cuckoo called, cuckoo, cuckoo, and owl tried to sleep. The robin peeped, pip, pip, and owl tried to sleep. The sparrows chirped, cheep, cheep, and owl tried to sleep. You might have to pick a different tree next time, huh? The doves cooed, crow, crow, and owl tried to sleep. I'm not very good at bird sounds, but I'm trying. The bees buzzed, buzz, buzz. The squirrel cracked nuts, crunch, crunch. The crows croaked, caw, caw. The woodpecker pecked, rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat. The starlings chittered, twit, 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 twit. The jays screamed, ark, ark. The cuckoo called, cuckoo, cuckoo. The robin peeped, pip, pip. The sparrows chirped, cheep, cheep. The doves cooed, crew, crew, and owl couldn't sleep. Look at now, both his eyes are wide open. Then darkness fell and the moon came up and there wasn't a sound. So all those birds and animals fell asleep, right? Owl screeched, screech, screech, and woke everyone up. Now it's his turn to wake everyone up. Oh my goodness, that was funny. Funny ending, huh? Okay, we'll read a Bible story. See, where do we leave off? Gonna read about Noah. It says Noah and the ark. What's an ark? Do you know, Kezia? It's a big, huge boat. Long ago, God looked down to see the world. God had made a good world, but now people were spoiling it. They were always fighting. I'm sorry I ever made the world, said God. I shall wash it away. God saw that there was one good man, Noah. I want you to build a big boat, God said to Noah. It will be called an ark. Noah was puzzled. There's going to be a flood, said God. You must take your family on the ark to keep them safe. So he didn't understand what God was, telling him because he'd never seen rain before, but he obeyed and trusted God, didn't he? It saved his family. So Noah began to build. God gave him instructions on how to build it. God said, Noah, you must also take animals onto the ark. You must take a father and a mother of every kind of animal. Noah and his family were very busy doing as God wanted. Look at all those animals. Then it rained and rained. It actually rained for 40 days. Did you know that? And 40 nights? No. The whole world was flooded. The whole world, not just part of it. Whoa. The ark floated on the floodwater for days and days and days. And then at last the rain stopped. The water started to go down. Bump! Noah's ark hit the top of a mountain and got stuck there. Noah let out a raven. It flew and flew and kept on flying. Then Noah let out a dove. The first time it soon flew back, but the second time it came back with an olive branch in its beak. And the third time it flew away. It must have found land, said Noah. Excuse me. Soon the land was dry. Noah let everyone out of the ark. The animals hurried away to make new homes. Thank you, God, for keeping us safe, said Noah. God was pleased. Look, said God, there is my rainbow in the sky. It is a promise that I will keep the whole world safe forever. But they were happy to get out of that ark. Fun and play. Hope you liked the stories tonight. Good night.